All praise, glory, and honor is most certainly due to the Most High, the God of the patriarchs, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and peace to you in the name of Jesus. This is your brother, Elisha Israel of the house of faith. Kind of too late, each and every single time that I can come before you to preach the word of God. Never though, kind of that's a light thing to do. So, all right, brothers and sisters, I want to deal with a question very briefly that I received through email. And the question is about divorce. And one aspect of it is, can a woman divorce a man? Well, if you're talking about in the Western world, if you're talking about the United States, of course, they divorce more than men. The vast majority of divorces are initiated by women, more than 70%. The question is, though, specifically, is that can that be done according to Torah, according to the Bible? And the answer is no. That's not what was set up. You don't see that in Torah. You don't see now. I'm gonna read this here because the person that had the question indicated that what they had learned, which again, if you think of a peace to you, Brother Leo, it's good to see you there, brother. If you think about what you have learned, you didn't learn some nonsense more than likely. Okay. So when you're thinking about, and you didn't learn a misinterpretation of a book. You've looked at this book through, I always say this, through Western eyes. This is not a Western book. This is an Eastern book, a Hebraic culture. It has nothing to do with what's going on in the United States or in Europe, anywhere where you have preponderance of Western influence. Okay, so if you apply those Western values, the Western culture to this book, you're going to get a misinterpretation of this book. People need to stop trying to make it say, and I'm not saying this individual is doing that. I'm just saying people need to not look at the book and try to make it say what they want it to say. Okay, because it simply says what it says. Okay, so now I'm gonna read something in Mark, rather, because they quoted Mark as to say, well, a woman can, or can a woman actually ask, the person asks, can a woman divorce a man? And they got this from here. I'm gonna just read this here. It says in verse 12, Mark 10 and 12, it says, and if a woman shall put away her husband and be married to another, she committeth adultery. And so again, if you take things out of context, if you don't take into account what Torah says, then you can come up with the idea that the Bible is saying that a woman can divorce a man. Okay, she used that, or this individual used this particular verse. Well, let's go back and find out what was going on. And you can go to Matthew the 19th chapter as well as talking about this. And one thing about marriage, according to, or divorce rather, according to Torah, we're going to find out is not what divorce is in regard to the Western world. The Western world divorce, and again, what the Bible says is totally different. So let's go here. Mark 10 and verse 2. It says, and the Pharisees came to him and asked him, is it lawful for a man to put away his wife, tempting him? So that's what you have to understand the intent there. Okay, so, and you have to know the difference between putting away and divorce, because divorce, now they asked, is it lawful for, let's go back to actually read the law. It says, is it lawful for a man to put away his wife for any cause? Remember, they're trying to tempt him. Let's see what a divorce constituted. Deuteronomy 24th chapter, real quick. Deuteronomy 24, and here you see the law pertaining to divorce. Verse 1. Deuteronomy 24:1. It says, when a man had taken a wife and married her, and it come to pass that she find no favor in his eyes, because he hath found some uncleanness in her, then let him write her a bill of divorcement and give it in her hand and send her out of his house. So again, for Torah says a man, if he could divorce his wife, he would write her a bill of divorcement. That's step 1. Put it in her hand and send her out of his house. That's step 2. Okay. Now, what that is not has nothing to do with what you see today. Okay. We're gonna continue to read here. It doesn't say, and when a woman decides to divorce a man, because that's not what was given. Because you were dealing with patriarchy. Patriarchy, meaning men were in control of their households. It was a man's household. It wasn't a woman's household. She was a part of it, just like a child would be a part of a household. This is what they did. Men ruled the household. It was not like this pansy gynocracy that you see today in the Western world. Hypergamy, all this nonsense, feminism, all this that you see today, that was not going on here. So do not apply that to Torah. Don't apply that when you're looking at what was going on, when you see the interaction between the religious sects, the Pharisees, and the Messiah. Okay, so it says again, when a man have taken a wife and married her, and it come to pass that she find no favor in his eyes because he hath found some uncleanness in her, then let him write her a bill of divorcement and give it in her hand and send her out of his house. Again, nowhere will you read that, okay, a woman is writing a bill of divorcement. So you have to keep that in mind when you read the question, is it lawful? Okay, first of all, you don't see a woman writing a bill. How you gonna divorce? How you gonna divorce the man into these circumstances? It wasn't even there. Now you had instances of women leaving. Hagar left. Do you see her right? Did she say to Abraham, I'm gonna write you a bill of divorcement? You see the concubine that Levi had. Do you say did you read that she said, I wrote you a bill of divorcement? No, she went right back into her father's house because that was the culture. You were in your father's house under his dominion until you were in your husband's house. Not like the foolishness that's going on right now. Peace to you, Brother Duane. Peace to you, brother. So again, you will not find that. Okay, let's keep reading. And when she is departed out of his house, she may go and be another man's wife. Understand, she could only be another man's wife if she had that bill of divorcement. She couldn't be another man's wife legally if she did not have that bill of divorce. Let's say the man just put her out of the house, which is what was going on. Shalak. They were separating from the women. You get out of here. Well, and she get out if he separates from her, peace to you, Brother Cameron. Then what? Okay, especially in this kind of culture where women are dependent upon men for her. Just like women use the system to help support themselves today, or you might use a job to help support you today, they use the men for that. So you might be facing destitutes. You gonna hook up with some other man. Well, in doing so, you have just committed adultery. How? Because you didn't have a bill of divorcement. And men knew that, and that's where their treachery comes in, because they were separated from these wives, kicking them out of their house, knowing that they didn't really have any recourse. Because they're in a position where they can't really move. So it says, and if the latter husband hate her and write her a bill of divorce, meaning let's say this woman, in this example that's given, she is divorced legitimately, and she goes and marries another man, and he divorces her again. You never see what she decides to write her own bill of. You can't write a bill of divorcement as a woman. You don't see that. So it said, if the latter husband hate her and write her a bill of divorcement and give it in her hand and send her out of his house, or if the latter husband died, which took her to be his wife, so that would end the marriage. So a bill of divorcement would end the marriage, or if the husband died, that would end the marriage. So let's say that second husband she had, he died. She can't go back to that first husband. It says her former husband will send her away, may not take her again to be his wife. After that, she is defiled, for that is abomination before the Lord, and thou shalt not cause that land to sin, which the Lord thy God giveth thee for an inheritance. Okay? So this is the law of divorce. So when you go and read and understand that the Messiah is not saying anything against the law. Okay? In other words, it's not like he added there, oh yeah, and a woman, when you write your bill of divorcement, that's not what's being said here. Mark the 10th chapter, and let's pick it up back where we were at. in verse 2, it says, and the Pharisees came to him and asked him, is it lawful for a man to put away his wife, tempting him? Again, they're trying to tempt him. So can you put away for any cause? And he answered and said unto them, what did Moses command you? And they said, Moses suffered to write or allowed to write a bill of divorcement and to put her away. See, again, it's not just putting her away. So when you read put her away, it doesn't necessarily mean, peace to you, Brother Willie. Good to see you there, brother. It doesn't mean that, oh, you just, that's the divorce in and of itself, because you have to have a bill of divorcement. And you have to look sometime behind the words there, English words, into the Greek to find out what's being said, because it could mean just separation. Okay? He says, and Jesus answered and said unto them, for the hardness of your heart, he wrote you this precept. But from the beginning of the creation, God made them male and female. For this cause shall a man leave his father and mother and cleave to his wife, and they twain shall be one flesh. So then they are no more twain, but one flesh. What therefore God hath joined together, let no man put asunder. And in the house, and in the house, his disciples asked him again of the same matter, and he saith unto them, whosoever shall put away his wife and marrieth another, committeth adultery against her. And if a woman shall put away her husband and be married to another, she committed adultery. So what is it saying? Ultimately, it's under certain circumstances, you can be causing a person to commit adultery. Why? Because you done put them away and you put them in a position to where they're going to deal with somebody else. Okay? So that's what that's talking about. Again, you got to understand, you should understand what Torah says about it. You should understand what they were trying to do in tripping him up. You see what I'm saying? So it ultimately the root question that the individual had was, can a woman divorce a man? No. Again, if you look at Apollyo, you look at the Greek here, it's talking about separation. Okay? So you basically putting her in that's the treachery you read about in Malachi. You're basically putting her in a situation to commit adultery. Ultimately, you're complicit in it, even though you're not the one she may be sleeping with. That's what it's saying. Again, if you go to the Greek, again, it's talking about separation. Okay? And so and then when you understand what Torah is saying, according to in regard to it. So it's not saying that a woman can write a bill of divorcement. So it's not saying that. Neither was the Messiah saying that. Okay, she's talking about if the woman is separate. Look at the word there in Greek. If the woman is separated from her husband and then go and marry her, yes, you commit adultery. They all commit adultery. The man she run to after being separated, that's adultery. Because you got people now, that's their stat. I give you an example in the Western world. People got the status of separated. That's an actual status for people, separated. And you got people who are quote unquote separated, having sex with other people that's not their, like a woman that's separated having sex with somebody that's not her husband. Okay, what is that? That's adultery. Why? Because you're not divorced. Okay, so it says, and if a woman shall put away her husband or be separated from her husband and be married to another, she committed adultery. So the one she ran to, he committed adultery with a married woman. She committed adultery with him, but the man that just separated from her and didn't give her a bill of divorce, but just separated from her, he put her in a position to commit adultery. So you all complicit, because it is right. Ultimately, the ideal situation is that you would come together, be married, and stay that way. But at the same time, nowhere do you see that a woman is in a position to divorce a man. Now, in the Western world, in the United States, that's what goes on wholesale. 50% of marriages end up in divorce, and over 70% of those divorce is going to be initiated by women. So you don't have, as a man, if you're going through this particular system to be married, you do not have the power that that they had in ancient culture, in Hebraic culture, under the Torah that they, you know. Now, what recourse could a woman have? Potentially, a recourse potentially could be perhaps if there's something that is egregious, something that's going on. Perhaps she could go to the elders, but then the elders not gonna have her bill of divorce. They might go to that man and put pressure on him to do something. You know, just like when they. But again, the Bible don't say. But there are if you got elders, they would be more than likely dealing with issues pertaining to marriage. But yeah, you don't see a woman writing a bill of divorce for a man. That's only in this, like I said, pansy hypergamy that you see called the Western world. And with that, brothers and sisters, I want to remind you we're at the Household of Faith. We live stream every Sabbath at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time right here on the Israel Teach YouTube channel, as well as on our website, www.israelteach.org. We have Bible study every Friday night on Zoom. The personal ID meeting number is 602-961-1318. Again, if you'd like to be a part of the Bible study every Friday night at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, just go to Zoom, and our personal ID number is 602-961-1318. There's also information on that in the description of the video. And also, if you've been edified through the ministry and would like to leave a donation, you can do so on our website, www.israelteach.org. 100% of the proceeds goes to the work of the ministry. Again, I'd like to say peace to everybody that's listening. Brother Leo, Brother Duan, Brother Cameron, Brother Willie, and everybody else. And there are also books available that I've written. Into Each Begin with Ships, The Pagan Origins of Christian Holidays, Hell Like Wolf, Feel Like Burn Brass, Killing Black Innocence, For There Shall Be Great Tribulation, and In Defense of Biblical Polygyny. The brother said, I'm looking forward to being baptized soon, brother. I am too, brother. My father just he just redid the baptism pool. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it as well, brother. I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate you very much. And with that, brothers and sisters, it's always my prayer that you are edified. Yeah, we're gonna figure out something soon. So I see everything's kind of opening up, but we wanna move with prudence and wisdom as we go further, and patience as well. So, but yeah, since brother said time is short, I understand. All right, brothers and sisters, peace. There again. Right now, it's funny you said it. Right now, I was trying to get him on. I'm gonna put him on a website. I had some issues with the company that I have, to be honest, as far as doing that. So right now, you could just you go on anywhere like BarnesandNobles.com, Amazon.com, any of those places right now. But yeah, it's just so 20,000 of them on just using those formats. So more than that. But yeah, in Amazon.com, anywhere you want to get any other book, you'll find it there. And with that, brothers and sisters, again, it's always my prayer that you are edified.